This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FY Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Daler Deol, and I just interviewed her husband, Surinder, so she is the woman behind that power. Welcome to our show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I was born in Jhelum, district Jhelum.
Which is in India.
Which is in Pakistan now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was little before partition. And my parents moved to Simla after partition, where I had my high school. And after finishing high school, we moved to Punjab, Jalandhar, where I did my master's.
Okay.
And like Surinder, I also topped the university after him.
Okay.
And
so you guys knew each other from the university days?
Yes.
College sweetheart. Oh, wonderful.
So I was also awarded gold medal.
Okay,
and
great.
That's how I completed my education there.
Education. Talk about education. Mm-hmm. That's the most single important issue, and especially when it comes to education for the girls, in terms of the empowerment of education. Why do you think it's important? What does it do? Education?
Education is the basic thing, you know.
Basic
it builds the character of
it. Builds the character.
And it makes you independent thinker. And like we have, you know, women empowerment slogans. All the politicians, they keep on, you know, chanting this slogan, but they don't do anything. And they think women are like voting blocks. And what they are supposed to do is to educate women so that they can become powerful. And to make them powerful, when they work for their, you know, earning, and they earn a job, they do their job, they must be paid equal wage for the equal work.
Very well.
Whereas even in America, I have seen that women are not equally paid. And state has to take strong initiative, you know, and higher budgetary allocations must be allocated to for the education of the women.
You touched upon several issues, education. I'm in the process of writing a book on education, not just the K through 12 education, higher education, but also pre-K education, mm-hmm. which starts from the home, and mm-hmm. especially when the kids are young, 1 to 5 year old. Education uplifts the soul. Education empowers the people.
Right.
Education gives dignity and respect to the people. It also a powerful equalizer that empowers the people, just not necessarily the woman, but all the peoples. And you touched upon the education, the fact that the federal government and the state government should help them. So how do you make education more affordable and accessible, especially the fact, as you know, if you have children, you know how expensive it is for them to send to college. Mm-hmm. And my other question is, what do you think is the best way to empower women?
The best way to empower women, as I said, is to
educate them.
Educate them.
But the fact of the matter is, education is very expensive in this country, and mm-hmm. for that matter, all over the world. So what do you do to make it more affordable or accessible to the people?
I think government should give a lot of scholarships.
A scholarship program,
yeah,
okay, that's the one way to do that.
Should be there. Then there should be some, you know, industrialists who can support.
So it's a public and private partnership you're talking about.
Yeah.
What about the fact that the educations of the minorities, and especially in India is a good example, mm-hmm. On the Indian Muslims and some of the backward, which is the Dalit, they're not doing very well in India in terms of education. What kind of hope and opportunity do you give it to them, and what advice do you have for them so that you can empower them, so they become part of the mainstream society of India as well as all over the world?
I think the majority of the people who cannot get education, the basic factor is that they are not doing very well in economic field.
Right.
And parents think that education, you know, is not that important, earning is more important, so they send their children early on to earn wages.
Right.
But government should help them in opening the schools, especially for the girls most of the girls, they do not get education because parents also think that education for girls is not important because they have to get married and they have to go to different home. But if parents are educated and they feel, and I feel if a woman is educated, she can educate the whole family. So education of women is more important than education of men. That's my feeling.
Well, that's one person's opinion. I think education for all is important to this
education
nation.
for all, because all are getting, rest are getting, but girls are leaving behind.
Exactly. But I wanted to transition a little bit and shift the gear to talk about your background is mostly into politics. In political science, you taught in University of Delhi, which is in India. How did you become a poet? And tell me a little bit about all the books you wrote. Please tell me a little bit about your book.
Okay, this is my book, Rubaru, the poetry book.
Okay, so it is in English, in Hindi.
In Hindi.
Okay, so that's the book she wrote. And tell me a little about the second book.
These are the books which I wrote when I was a lecturer in Delhi University.
Oh, okay. So can I shine a bright light?
Yeah, sure.
The comparative government and politics. So she has written a book, not necessarily in the poetry, but the government and politics. And this I cannot read.
This is translation of liberalism, Marxism.
Liberalism and Marxism. This talks about communism. Okay. And the politics of America has always been to ensure that we can grow the capitalism and flourish
Right.
the political landscape of America. Okay, so this is the charisma and commitment. This is Mrs. Gandhi.
Yeah.
She was indeed very charismatic. There's no
Very
question about that.
charismatic, yeah.
Tell me what it means about the Rubaru things that we talked about it, which is what this one is, and what the message you're trying to convey.
Rubaru means face to face. So when I wrote this book, it came so natural to me because I was not planning to be a poetess.
Okay.
And poetry is something which you cannot plan or you cannot learn. It's a gift of nature. It's divine. That's my feeling. That's what I believe, because it came to me so late in my life. And when it came, I was forced to write. And my first poem is almost a dialogue between that power which was forcing me to write that poetry.
Is there divine power?
It's a divine power, or you can say some super energy, around us, which is always gearing us towards achieving some goal.
Okay, very good. Now, you have something in English here, some of your poetry. Can you recite that for the audience?
Yeah,
and
of course.
I'm sure we all would enjoy it.
Yeah, there is one poem in this book which is called Jivan. That's a life. So I have translated this into English.
Please recite it and tell the a little bit. Tell the audience. Share with them.
Life is like a dewdrop on a trembling leaf. The dewdrop filled with the richness of hope. Life is like a dewdrop on a trembling leaf. The dewdrop filled with the richness of hope. The air is starting to shudder and quiver. The leaf is suddenly filled with the fear of dropping. The air is starting to shudder and quiver. The leaf is suddenly filled with the fear of dropping. The dewdrop babbles, some childish prattle. The time to leave the refuge has finally come. The dewdrop babbles, some childish prattle. The time to leave the refuge has finally come. His magnetic force will draw the life's essence to itself, the one who shines like the sun, always wearing a golden garb. His magnetic force will draw the life's essence to itself, the one who shines like the sun, always wearing a golden garb. The dewdrop stays with the leaf for some time, but in the end it falls to become a part of the whole creation.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Thank
so you have a TV program, as I understand here. So who's your favorite poet?
There are many.
Yeah, tell me a little bit.
I generally cover those poets which impress me.
Like who?
But most important, I would say, if you want me to choose, is Faiz Ahmed. Faiz, I
Faiz
was
Ahmed,
very
Faiz.
much impressed with his poetry, and Sahir Ludhianvi.
Yes, I Ludhiani.
Both of these poets have some mission in life, and they wrote poetry to that mission, and then they were very liberal also. They wanted equality in this in
Equality,
in
dignity, tolerance, and
society.
respect.
Yes.
Those are their mottos.
Yeah. So that's why they.
And also, I understand you translated Rumi and
Yes.
Tagore.
Yeah.
Rumi, you probably know, was born in, was it Jalaluddin Rumi?
Jalaluddin
And he
Rumi.
was born in what,
1200,
1200?
yeah, something.
And not too many people in the audience know about Rumi. So and Tagore, obviously we all know Tagore, we all love Tagore. And we can always keep our,
Yeah.
our head held high because of the fact of the Tagore. So tell me
Yeah.
about Rumi.
Rumi was basically a mystic poet.
He was in
And mystic poetry impresses me a lot. So in my book also there are a lot of mystic poems, but then there are love poems also, there are poems about relationship also. But as I said, we do not plan what we are going to write. And Rumi had a special relationship with God, or whatever you can say, the superpower. And he was suddenly enlightened when he came in contact with Shams. And when Shams disappeared, he wrote entire poetry, and probably he dedicated the whole poetry in his name.
Wow. He was
And
a
that-
brilliant man.
Yes, he was.
Well, so you know about politics. So tell me about the new prime minister that has a mandate now in a parliament in India, Mr. Modi. What do you think of it? Do you think he will survive? Do you think that he will get rid of the corruptions and all the problems that India faces right now?
I did one feature for GTV, The Mind of Mr. Modi.
Yes.
And that was immediately after election. And during election, I was keeping close watch on his interviews and his speeches, and read about his little bit about his life also. What kind of person is he? And I think he is a very disciplined person, and he has some purpose in life. He has a vision, and I have high hopes. But we have to see what are the results, because in democracy it's very hard to predict.
But he has the mandate. He has the majority in the parliament.
Yes, absolute majority.
So you saying that just let's wait and see what he does. But he
Yeah.
has a good intention, good vision, good values, and a great mission.
Yeah, but he has taken one or two steps. He wants to modernize the government, which
course.
he has, yeah. And he has opened economy for the foreign
Well,
investors.
which he did very well in the state
It's
of
very-
Gujarat. He's a pro-business person.
Yes, yeah.
So there's a lot of hope and
There
expectation.
is a lot of hope.
And there's a lot of expectation.
And I am very
that
optimistic.
he will do the wonders.
Yes.
But it takes a mountain, it takes a lot of time to move a mountain in India,
Yeah.
to move anything in India,
That's right.
because the corruption is deeply entrenched in that society.
I think it's very hard.
India needs to improve.
In a democratic country, it's very hard for anybody to achieve, what they want to achieve. Like you can see in America also, Obama cannot do what he wants to do.
Well, we have a check and balance in our country.
Yeah,
So what do you think we are facing in America, in the United States? What are the challenges that we face in America today?
There are global challenges, but as a political scientist, I keep my eye on the internal, working of the government, and I feel that both these political parties, they have shifted apart after Clinton, and they have lost the common
They
ground.
haven't come together. They don't.
Yeah, they have
They're not
lost-
seeking a common ground to work together.
To work together. That's the main.
So what are you going?
cause.
What's your thoughts? What do you tell them? So they can have they all have a shared goals and a common commitment, and shared responsibility to govern this nation.
The House is, in the hands of the Republicans. They are not ready to govern. They are not coming to, terms with, deciding anything, like important issues like immigration.
Immigration reform.
Yeah. So, one drawback that I find is that in a democracy, the House should be representative of the people, and the system of gerrymandering or redrawing the district to help certain candidates is not democratic.
Okay.
And something should be done to abolish this gerrymandering system, which was started some time ago.
And what that will do, if you do that?
That will
so that means you have to elect the chief executive officer, which means the governor in every state who shares with your values and vision.
Yeah, but in that, if they don't redraw the districts, then the opinion of the people who gets elected will be decided, and I think that's fair and democratic.
Okay, well, that's a great way. Are you hopeful that this country will elect a woman as a president of the United States?
Sure, I am. I'm very optimistic, and I can see that in 2016 we will have Madam President, and probably the name that comes to me is Hillary Clinton.
So you're going to vote for Hillary?
Sure.
Okay, so you see a lot of hope. You see a brighter horizon.
Right, right. And it's high time, I think in this respect, America is way behind even the developing countries.
Well, in the developing countries, even Sri Lanka and India had a woman prime
India,
minister.
Bangladesh, yeah.
Bangladesh is always kind of flip-flop between the two.
Yeah.
Woman, right?
Yeah. And
For the
Pakistan also.
Pakistan had Benazir Bhutto.
Yes.
So it's high time.
It's high time that America should wake up now.
I don't know about the waking up, but elect a president, I say. Is there anything else you want to share with your viewer?
Well, thank you very much
Sure.
for giving me this opportunity. And if I have to say something, there is one thing, that always be alert and aware and try to seek the opportunity to realize your potential. Do not miss it. And like Rumi said, don't be a sleeping one. Be awake and listen to the nature.
So all of you can learn from her message. And everything and anything is possible when we learn from one another, when we listen to each other, when we set aside our differences to work for shared goal with shared responsibilities. And that's what she's saying. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciated that very much for your thoughts and your vision.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And please continue doing good work to serve our country, for that matter, serve your community as well. Do well, but do good. And also, you should be reminded and guided by the phrase, to whom much is given, much is expected. Thank you very much for watching the show. This is Frank Islam wishing you a great week.